Listen, the more you learn, the more you earn. Welcome back to another YouTube video. My name is Sabali Freeman, junior at the University of New Mexico. Getting on here to drop a quick video about organic chemistry and pretty much how to do well when you're taking both organic chemistry 1 and 2. Before I get into the video, though, man, it has definitely been a really long time since I've uploaded a video. I think the last time I uploaded a video was probably December 2025. Maybe January, something like that. But it's definitely been a long time. But pretty much, YouTube is kind of just a hobby for me. So it's not something that I'm trying to get monetized on or anything like that. And, when I drop a video, I really want to have something to talk about, something to value. I don't want to just get on here and drop a video for the sake of dropping a video. You know what I'm saying? So this has been a long time, and I definitely just been real busy with school and just haven't really had much to talk about. But I just finished my spring semester. Everything went pretty good. I finished with straight B pluses across the board. Um, I took 12 credit hours. I wanted to definitely try to get an A up out of there, but it was just rough. But anyways, I think I did good considering. So it's all good. But yeah, finished that. Got one summer class coming up. I'm taking applications calculus. So yeah, almost there. I can see the finish line. After next fall, I'll be a senior, and yeah, just one more year to go, and we be walking across the stage, man. So I'm definitely excited for that. Looking forward to it. But yeah, that's pretty much all that's been up with me. But yeah, I want to just talk about organic chemistry and how to do well in organic chemistry. Because a lot of people struggle with that class, and it is a very, very challenging class. I've taken both organic chemistry 1 and 2, and after taking both of those classes and going through the ups and downs and the rigmarole of organic chemistry, I think I have some basis to be able to give you guys some kind of advice. And keep in mind, I'm not trying to teach anybody how to get an A plus in organic chemistry. This video is not about how to ace it, how to get an A on every single exam. Honestly, if you want to get an A out of this class, that's really just going to depend on you and how hard you're willing to work. And what kind of student you're trying to be, your goals. That's going to really depend on you. So it's not about necessarily how to get an A, but how to just get through the class and what is the formula to the class. You know what I'm saying? I think that was the biggest thing I learned this semester was for every class you take, you really got to figure out the formula. What do I have to do to be successful at this class? And for every class, that formula is going to be different. So I'm pretty much trying to give you guys the formula to organic chemistry. And the formula, well, before I even get to the formula, first things first. One thing I learned with taking organic chemistry is make sure that you take it with a good professor. Um, that is the best advice I can give you as far as that. Because I took organic chemistry 1, and my professor was not that great. They were very hands off. Either you get it or you don't. My organic chemistry 2 professor was excellent. They really gave us everything we needed to be successful as far as practice exams, multiple exam reviews. You know what I'm saying? Like, they really gave us everything. And it really just came down to how bad you really wanted to succeed in the class. You know what I'm saying? Because they gave us everything to be prepared. The lectures were really, really good. My professor was just a really good professor. That's probably the best professor I've ever had. um, since I've gone back to college, hands down, best professor, very, very good professor, very articulate, very intellectual. They was just really good. So the professor matters, you know what I'm saying? And the professor I took organic chemistry 1 with, they wasn't that good, but there were people who still got A's out of that class. But nevertheless, if you're just an average student, like me, you know what I'm saying, then definitely, make sure you have a good professor. It really is going to make or break that class. And, it's definitely going to determine how prepared you are for the next organic chemistry. I came into organic chemistry 2 with a very sloppy foundation. But I didn't have that in organic chemistry 1. So make sure you just have a good professor. Ask around, ask people who have taken the class, hey, who would you take it with? who should I take it with? Who do you recommend? Because it really does matter. So with that being said, the formula to organic chemistry pretty much is to practice, right? As far as comprehending, in my opinion, everything in organic chemistry is 100% comprehensible. There wasn't anything that I learned where I just felt like, man, I just don't get this. I'm just not understanding this. Like, I got to go to multiple office hours because I can't wrap my brain around this. Like, there are some times I might have had some questions about some certain things, but other than that, it's pretty comprehensible. So, comprehending it is one thing, but knowing it is another thing because, when you get that exam in organic chemistry, there isn't going to be any multiple choice. Depending on what college you go to or how your professor structures their exams, I mean, for me, organic chemistry 1 and 2 wasn't nothing multiple choice. You had your product, your reagent, and your start material, and you needed to draw up a synthesis, 8-step synthesis, how to get from the start material to the product. And yeah, you needed to know, like, okay, is this reagent acidic or is it basic? And how is that going to determine the very first step in this product? You know what I'm saying? Am I going to protonate the starting material? Like, what am I going to do here? And you kind of got to treat organic chemistry like a math class. Like a math class, there is no multiple choice, right? You're given equations, and it's either you know it or you don't. And because of that, you have to really spend a lot of time practicing because not only are you trying to just learn it, but you're trying to learn it because there could be so many different scenarios, like dealing with a linear equation. Learning a linear equation can be pretty simple, but when you start throwing fractions in there, when you start throwing negative numbers in there, when you start changing the symbol from addition to division, that changes everything. The steps are going to change, right? The outcome is going to change. And you need to know how to practice every single scenario of what it possibly could be. That way, when you are given an exam, no matter what they throw at you, you've practiced linear equation um, when there's a division in there, and you've practiced it when there's a fraction in there, when there's a negative number. So you know how to do this problem no matter what scenario. And that's kind of how organic chemistry is. There could be a ton of different scenarios. Your starting product could be different. Your reagents could be different. You know what I'm saying? And you really need to know how to work each and every scenario. That way, when you're given an exam with no multiple choice, you can look at it and say, okay, boom, this is this. This is the basic. First step is this. All right, I got this. Like, the last thing you want is to get an exam, look at a problem, and you don't know what the hell you're doing. Right? You have no confidence. You can't figure it out because it's pretty much over from there. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much the formula for organic chemistry is you got to practice a lot. I probably spent 30 hours, no BS, like 30 hours practicing in organic chemistry too, between going to exam reviews and just doing working problems out of the book. And that's what really helped me was doing the working problems out of the book. So my organic chemistry 2 professor, they pretty much had everything laid out as far as what working problems to do, which I was very thankful for that. But, if you don't have that, if your professor is saying, hey, read chapter 15.1 through 15.4, then you need to do the working problems from 15.1 to 15.4. And you need to write them on flashcards and do them every single day. And that's pretty much what I did. I took all the working problems from all the chapters we did up until the exam and just worked on them every single day. We got working problems in class that we did in group activities. I would take those home and I would practice those, and I would just practice over and over and over and over again until, it just stuck here, right? For organic chemistry 1, I didn't do that. I didn't practice. I comprehended everything we were learning, but I didn't practice, and that's why I didn't really do so good in that class. Fortunately, they had a very lenient grading scale, which allowed me to barely get through that class. But organic chemistry 2, it wasn't the same. Everything was all exams. We did have group activities and little pop quizzes, but that was only worth 10% of your grade. Everything else was exam based. So that class was extremely difficult, especially going into it with, you know, without a good foundation, you know. So I had to really, really work hard in that class. But I'm telling you, I just practiced every single day, right on my whiteboard, and just did the working problems over and over and over again. And when it came exam time, you know, there was nothing that, you know, my professor could really throw at me that I pretty much didn't know. So I did pretty good in that class. And that's pretty much, you know, the formula. But, you know, I wanted to give that to you guys because it is a very difficult class. And I definitely see how it got the nickname the pre-med killer. Because, yeah, I think it could definitely deter a lot of students who think they're going to med school, think they want to be a doctor. They get to that class and they be like, nah, forget this. Like, I'm just gonna do marketing. You know what I'm saying? And I know people like that. I know people who got to organic chemistry and switched their major. You know what I'm saying? Because it is that type of a hard class. You know, organic chemistry too. My professor had two different sections, and one of her sections, man, 35% of students dropped the class. So you know, it is one of them classes, man, that'll kind of make you rethink. Do I really want to do this? Why am I doing this? You know what I'm saying? It takes a lot out of you, but I promise, you know, if you have a good professor and if you practice, if you really put that time and energy outside of the classroom and work hard, it ain't gonna be that bad. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna really be too much. You know what I'm saying? So I think that that's, you know, the best formula that I can give anybody trying to take organic chemistry to do well. Now, if you want to get an A+, you know, you're gonna have to, you know, work twice as harder. You're gonna have to go to them office hours. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna really have to put in the effort. I didn't get an A because I just wasn't really willing to put in that much effort, and I was taking a couple of other STEM classes on top of that too. So I couldn't give that class. I feel like 30 hours was a lot already, and I just didn't see myself giving it anything more than that to get an A, because it just would have took too much out of me. So, but that's pretty much it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it helped somebody out there. I hope you guys learned something from it, and I will see y'all on the next clip.